Okay, we're here to talk about interqual criteria. I just wanted to give us a brief overview of what we do for interqual criteria, or actually how it was developed, because we work with it and sometimes we just don't understand like what the rationale behind interqual criteria was. So this is just a quick presentation about why we're doing what we do with interqual and with McKesson. I'm supposed to say that I do not get paid any money from interqual, nor do I receive any subsidiary from any aspect of this presentation, including McKesson. It's just basically something for our information that I think will you can keep in the back of your mind. It'll help make your job more meaningful, hopefully. So this is interqual criteria. It was a creative application of an innovative solution to America's healthcare puzzle. So we'll go on to the next slide. The objectives of this are so that you can verbalize a general history and development of interqual criteria, to verbalize the rationale for using evidence-based, objective, impartial criteria to determine patient status, to apply the proper application of interqual criteria within the scope of the utilization management process at Huey P. Long Medical Center, and to gain confidence in using interqual and in the mission of utilization management department. Our agenda is just basically to do an overview and to talk about what audits are. We had a presentation this morning, and that presentation talked a lot about the types of things that the payer sources or the regulatory agencies are looking at and why they would audit us and what would trigger an audit. And that's actually really important to utilization management and recognizing the types of things that we're trying to avoid in trying to avoid an audit or successfully complete an audit. And then we're going to talk just briefly about the history of utilization management and criteria development, and then using the criteria, a couple of things that are upcoming in our department, and summarize it, and then that'll be it. So it's just a brief presentation. U.S. healthcare costs $2.5 trillion, or actually that's our deficit right now for healthcare. 1/3 of the costs are consumed by hospitalizations. So, you know, healthcare includes more than just hospitalizations, but we're specifically focusing on inpatient hospitalizations. 75 to 90% of total costs are attributed to chronic diseases and cancer. And also the U.S. spends twice as much on healthcare per capita than any other country. We also have some of the lowest infant mortality rates, some of the worst statistics of the developed countries, and yet we're spending twice as much money. And so we're trying to figure out what we're doing wrong, especially with the chronic diseases and the cancers, and trying to help people manage those illnesses and not end up back in the hospital over and over again. In terms of quality, we ranked dead last when compared with Britain, Canada, Germany, Netherlands, Australia, New Zealand. Like I said, we have a higher infant mortality rate than 40 other countries. We have a lower life expectancy, and we only 54.9% of U.S. adults get recommended preventative care. That's only about half of us that get what we need to get. And that, again, to the first slide, we're spending twice as much as everybody else. Despite all of our efforts, 20% of our care is still inappropriate. We know at least that much. So $600 to $850 billion a year do not do anything to help people. This is unwarranted use. This is use that is meaningless. It's 250 to 325 billion. Provider inefficiency and error costs 75 to 100 billion. Lack of care coordination, 25 to 50 billion. And preventable conditions, 25 to 50 billion. Unnecessary care, 17 to 22% of medical care is considered unwarranted, including unnecessary hospitalizations, unnecessary duplicative tests, and unproven treatments. Our healthcare reform is complicating matters. We're trying to deliver high quality healthcare with the least amount of resources. We don't have $250 billion to waste every single year. So we have the traditional rules are blurring, risks are being shared, and reimbursement is shifting to value versus volume. So people want value for their money. You and I want it, and so does the healthcare system. It's being applied nationally. They're increasing audit scrutiny. Hospitals can